Hello, it's me. How's going, everyone? It's me, Inaba, who forgot to check our Arknights Twitter post and did not see that the post has been released about 2 days ago of the banner and the event See You Soon that is coming, and hence I'm rushing the video out basically 24 hours before the banner is gonna come out. So here we go. Should you pull Entelechia, or however that's pronounced? If that's how you pronounce your name, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just gonna roll with it. So this time it's gonna be a bit shorter of a video since I don't think it requires that much explanation about her skills, and I don't think the solution is gonna be that hard. In general, I would recommend most people not to pull her, except if you're a beginner. Then because of the way that she performs, you can still use her. Like, you have no one else and you just got into the game, sure, bring her. And if you are an IS player, of course. So I'll talk about that a bit later, but for now, that's just the verdict, basically. Just don't pull her for most situations unless you're like super diehard IS fan, or if you're completely new to the game and you just need someone, then sure, you can also grab her. Now, let's take a look at Entelechia's kit to see how she actually does. So Entelechia is a Reaper. The last Reaper for us would be Executor Altar, and if we go way back, our first Reaper is La Pluma. So there's quite a few of them already. Their kit is that they cannot be healed by ally units directly, but can be healed by passive healing, like Angelina's Talent or Scotty Altar's AoE healing. They deal AoE damage, and for every enemy they hit, she will recover 50 HP to herself. That goes to 60 HP if you have the module unlocked, and it will only heal her the amount of times that she can block enemies. So she can block 2, that means you can only trigger the healing twice per hit maximum. And if you bring that to 3, that's 3 if she can hit 3 enemies. Her first talent is that every time she attacks an enemy, she will steal up to 75 point of max HP from them. That goes up to 1350, and that brings her max HP up to almost 4000, and it will cause the damage. It will cause the target to take up to 250 arch damage per second for 5 seconds. So as you can see, this is a pretty decent survivability talent, since that they usually have really low defense, and this actually boosts her chance, lowers her chance of getting one-shotted by those enemies that has really high attacks, and gives her some room to get that HP back, if that's even possible, because she only recovers 50 or 60 HP per hit. The second talent is that when her HP reaches below 25%, she will immediately recover up to 90% of her max HP, that's with module and potential, and she will decrease physical damage taken by up to 25%, again with module and with talent. So this is also a really strong talent if given to a defender. So you would see that the regeneration with HP, that is similar to Blaze's talent, and then she gets decreased physical damage taken. Those all sound really good, but it doesn't change the fact that when she gets to the point where she has below 25 HP, that means the enemy is probably really strong, and you really wouldn't get much time to get that. Like, it wouldn't really affect her ability to take HP and whatnot, right? So her regeneration capability is still fixed. So unless it is just happens that the enemy's damage can be cancelled out perfectly by that physical damage reduction, or else this talent is basically useless, because she will still die anyway. She will just last like 2 more hits than usual. So as you can see, when you have a kit that is both that has both talent on survivability and not really on damage, it's not going too well in this situation, because they cannot be healed by ally operators. They're really squishy for only 502 defense and no resistance. Can only recover up to 60 HP per hit. That means they're not suited for the long run to begin with. And then you bringing their survivability up by a teeny bit is not going to help, at least not in the long run. So yeah, it's already starting pretty bad for her. So that's her talent and her traits. Next, let's take a look at her skills. So her skill 1 is a attack to recover type SP and will automatically trigger. It will go down to 2 SP at M3, and its effect is that her next attack will increase her attack to 175% of her base attack. So not increase, but increase. It's not increased by 175%, but increased to 175%. So only 75% increase in base attack and attacks twice. So obviously the downside of this skill is that you'll be using it as an AFK skill, but the base attack is so low that any enemy with like 1500 defense, which is very common nowadays, will just destroy her, and you don't get any kind of burst healing other than the double hit, which gets her like 50 more HP regeneration or 60 more HP regeneration per enemy than usual. So it's really not that much, and yeah, it's just not a good skill, and I would say it's pretty boring skill as well, because I think we've already seen another skill like this from La Pluma, I would say. So yeah, not much to talk about on this skill. Wouldn't recommend to use her as an AFK operator anyway. Next, let's take a look at her skill 2. So skill 2, upon activation, she will stop attacking and summon a scythe surrounding her and the last deployed ground unit, and deal AoE damage to all enemies around them, dealing up to 195% of her attack as physical damage once every 0.5 seconds. Now, interestingly, you can use this skill on Contrail, and when Contrail flies up when she activates her skill, this actually allows the scythe to deal damage to aerial units as well. So I think that's a really interesting to have, but I would say you probably only need that in IS as of right now. Now, this skill is really interesting for another reason. So you're looking at basically a Yato skill 2, because you can deploy any operator or like quick redeploy or any summon around the map and instantly activate her skill 2, and she kind of deals AoE damage to surrounding enemies, just like Yato, right? All around the map. So if you joined the game late and you didn't have Yato and you heard everyone's like, oh, Yato's so good, you gotta have Yato, right? This is a viable choice. It's just that you're using 2 operator instead of 1. So take that as you will. Now, this scythe summoned on the ally unit will actually also count as her own attack. So you will trigger her talent like stealing HP and arts damage per second. But because the source is from her, so enemies like Spike Chest will also bounce that damage back to her. So if you have like 2, her and her summon, both attacking like the Spike Chest at once, you might end up killing her. But the HP regeneration will also go to her as well. So there's a catch, but it's still pretty good. You're looking at, I think, up to 480 HP regen per second if you have the summon and her both hitting 2 enemies at the same time with her scythe. Pretty decent skill. The only downside of this skill, personally, I would say, is the base attack is still way too low. So even at M3, you're looking at 195% of her base attack, which is still less than 1500, or slightly above 1500 if you have module and potential. Words. So the base attack is just still too low, and you only really be going to using this skill against enemies that have really low defense or enemies that require hit count, because the 0.5 second per hit is still really good hit count in terms of enemies like in the Ling event, those enemies that require like 5 hits or something to finally kill. It's really good for that. Or if you're looking at mobs that have low defense, she's also pretty good for them. But anything above like 1000 defense, just wouldn't consider her, at least not her skill 2. So that's basically it for skill 2. At last, we have skill 3. Upon activating skill 3, her attack range will increase to Executor skill 3 range, increase her attack by 135%, increase her attack speed by 100, and immediately summon up to 3 candles for ground enemies that has the highest max HP within her attack area, 1 candle for each. And whenever she attacks the candles as well, because remember there's AoE damage, she will at least deal 35% of her attack to the candle. So it kind of works like true damage. And the candle will have 60% of the enemy's current HP. And when the candle is attacked, the enemy will lose the same amount of HP. And the candle can only be attacked by Entelechia. So, on paper, this skill looks really strong, right? It's got so many words, it must be really strong. But first of all, this skill can only have 3 candles and will not reproduce new candles whenever an enemy is killed. So let's say as an example, you're trying to deal with a bunch of, really squishy mobs, let's say. Well, you can only deal with 3 of them. Or let's say, so in situations where you have like a bunch of really tough enemies coming to you, let's say in IS D15, D18, not enough candles for all of them. You will only get 3, and then the moment those 3 enemies are gone, you are left with increased attack area, increased attack, and increased attack speed. You will not have the true damage anymore. So that's one big downside of this skill. Second of all, the true damage that she can actually deal is actually much lesser than other true damage dealers, and this is not even a true damage, so this cannot be buffed by true damage collectibles as well. It only acts somewhat like true damage. And then because the candle only takes 60% of the enemy's current HP, so let's say the enemy has 50% of the max HP now, then immediately the max HP that she can deal via the candle is down to 30% of the enemy's max HP. You see, it's 60% of the current HP. And that's the biggest issue with this skill, because as you activate this skill more and more, let's say if you're facing a really tanky boss, as an example, D18, IS5 ending 3 or whatever. The moment the first skill ends, the second time onwards, your damage is going to decrease. And it will gradually go down the more you activate this skill. And so from the fact that even though she's meant to deal AoE damage and she's meant to be good at clearing mobs, she can only deal true damage to 3 of them. And then diminishing returns as the more you activate this skill. All that combined just makes this skill really weak. And even then, if you look closely at this skill does not buff her survivability. It only buffs her attack range by a little bit. So she's not going to deal that much damage to the enemy if the enemy can somehow hit her. And then, if you look back at her stats, you would realize that she's basically dealing similar amount of damage to Executor Alta. So if you already have Executor Alta, there's no point grabbing her. No, actually no. I'm sorry. You don't even need to compare her to Executor. If you compare her to Gavial Altar, this is basically Gavial Altar, but many years late. If you brought her 3 years back, let's say, she would be a actually decent operator, and I would tell you guys to pull. But this is 3 years later. With all the inflations we've had, I just can't recommend you to pull her. So that's skill 3 for you. Now let's talk about who I think when she's going to be useful. So like I explained at the start, she would actually do pretty good if you're a beginner. So first of all, her basically really useful first useful skill is skill 2, right? So you can get her at E1, and you can pair her with operators like Gravel, so you can have like a kind of Yato's Altar skill 2 with her if you don't have other operators to use, obviously. And then in IS, the fact that you can actually use her in all sorts of different places and actually kind of, if you already have a Yato, you're kind of like having 2 Yatos, and that's really nice. And there's actually so many situations. I need to go into spoilers for that, but I really don't want to go into spoilers. So I'm just going to say this. In IS6, she's really good. I'm having so much fun with her in IS6, and you guys will just have to trust me on that, or I'll have to make a spoiler video just about her and IS6. So that's just how it is. So for everyone else though, she doesn't really work well with the current team comp that we have. You're not going to be using like Crown Slayer to, use her to cosplay as Yato, obviously. And then, yeah, the true damage is so little, you'll probably be better off with just bringing like Siege Altar. You'll do much better anyway if you want true damage, or elemental damage will also do the job. And then in RA, she's kind of fine if you're just chopping down trees with her. But also you're looking at she can only attack 6 tiles in front of her, right? So it's not really that much trees that you're reaching, so you're probably better off with other operators that are better at this, like, I don't know, Thorn's Altar will probably do a pretty decent job with his skill 2 as well, instead of her skill 3. And sadly in SSS, she's just not that good as well. Again, she can't be healed by other operators, and survivability is a huge issue with her if you're using her in SSS. So, and oh yeah, obviously there is CC, which is apparently coming soon, right? At the end, the true damage is too low, survivability is like a joke, and like given decrease attack tags in CC, her true damage is going down so much. You're probably dealing more damage with like so many other operators than her. I think Virtuosa, just breaking the elemental bar, deals more damage than her, basically. So yep, not worth it on that front as well. So that would be it on Entelechia. I hope you guys have already determined what you have, if you wanted to pull for her or not. I hope that if you're an IS player, you might want to look into her. And for everyone else, good luck if you're pulling her. Good luck for me because I'm pulling her. And I'll see you guys soon. Or should I say, see you soon. Bye.